Anyways, we're going to skip forward a little bit in my bio. I know that, I'm sorry, this is probably going to be incredibly long, but I really feel like it's important to share this so that way everybody understands more of where I'm coming from. When I was 16 and I was actually adopted into a family, I lived with them for a year before I was actually adopted. So I was 17 when I was actually adopted. Um, I don't remember what it happened exactly, but I I remember for some reason I heard I started researching more Wiccan concepts. Internet was a lot better when I was 17 than it was when I was 10, so I was actually able to get a lot more research in. And I even talked to my adopted mom, and I told them that I was really interested in Wicca and what is Wicca, and they're Christian, and they don't go to church every Sunday, but they are Christian, and but they're very, very open-minded, and they really loved the fact that I was open to explore other religious paths. And so I remember when I was 16 that my adopted mom, I call her mom, and then I call my biological mom mother. It's just kind of how I distinguish between the two of them, because they're both, I was when I was put on this earth, I was meant to have two parents. And that's just the way I look at it. You know, blood or no blood, she's my mom. She's done so much for me, even if she's only been my mom for such a short amount of time. Well, anyways, back to my story again. She she encouraged me to learn as much as I can about it, and we went to the library, and there really wasn't anything. And then we went to a bookstore in Modesto, and it's still there today, called Yesterday's Books, and it's great because it's actually like a half-price bookstore where they sell a lot of used books. They sell new books, but they sell a lot of used books as well. And I actually picked up a few books from them, and that's how I became, I started my path as becoming Wiccan. I didn't really consider myself Wiccan, and because I was pretty much off and on. There was always this struggle within that I was going to go to hell, and that God was very angry and upset with me because of the fact that I was, you know, worshiping other gods. But basically, so off and on for the last few years, and then I actually didn't do my year and a day study until I was 18. And I did that and finally finished. And then I actually ran into some issues myself. Well, you see, when my mother didn't pass away until after I had already was adopted. And I've always felt some sort of a guilt about her death. I don't know why. I know her death had nothing to do with me being adopted to another family. She just mentally was not able to care for us. But I was not in a very good place mentally, and so I think when I did my year and a day training, although my intent was well, my heart wasn't in it. So I fell off of it, and I actually developed some chemical dependencies myself. Nothing to the point where I actually had to go to rehab or anything like that. I just think part of it was my mother's experiences, you know, drove me to, you know, kind of wonder, well, why the heck would she do this? So I felt like I almost had to experience that for myself almost so that way I could walk in her shoes and get better clarity of how it would have been like, you know, why she might have made the choices that she did, if any of that makes any sense. Now this was a few years before I met Travis, and it was hell, actually. I got in a really bad relationship. It was not the most stable relationship. I actually wound up homeless once. And this went on for a couple years. And then one day I woke up and realized that I want this life. One of these days I knew I wanted to get married, or let me say remarried, because I did elope. And that when I was 18, part of it, you know, was because of everything that had happened during my childhood. But then I ended up getting divorced like 4 months later. So it was, you know, so I wanted to marry, you know, this time real marriage, real love, real, you know, feelings and emotions and stability. I wanted that stability. I wanted to start a family and I wanted children. And that alone and that love for what I wanted and what I hoped to accomplish in my life is what made me change who I was back then into who I am now. And so I would say about a year later, I married Travis, which, well, we were friends through a big course of my downfall, but we were just friends. We weren't dating or anything like that. We weren't even close friends. But it just, one day, something clicked between us, and that's, you know, we moved in, and we got married, and we had our daughter, and now we have a son, and he has a son, my stepson, from his previous relationship. So we have a 13-year-old named Trav, a 5-year-old little girl, Tabitha, and our 1-year-old is Christopher.